Hi, Caleb.
Hi,
Hi. Morning.
morning to you.
Switching between the two meetings. There's Mr. Markus Dr. Bösch.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. How
May
are
I
you?
introduce you? This is Caleb, Head of Communication at the Innovation Center, and Markus Bösch from Germany, Berlin.
Yes, that's me. Hi, Caleb. How are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm doing well.
So great. Everything fine with the technical things, Markus? Do you?
Let me just quickly check. I can obviously share a screen. That's good. Was that the right screen?
Yeah, I could see something.
Yeah, let's check again, because in the new version, Zoom on the Mac does not show which window is shared. So can you see the screen, the power of storytelling right now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And then let me just quickly try and share a video to see if we can hear something. Multimedia. Okay, fine. Everything we do and say now will be recorded. So actually, I deleted the multimedia because right now storytelling is huge and there are so many words that can be combined with storytelling. And you stumble upon these here and there, okay? Like audio-visual storytelling is a thing. Data storytelling is a thing now. Digital storytelling, of course. Multimedia storytelling using different forms of media, vertical, multi-platform, social media storytelling, whatever storytelling. Yesterday, when I brought my kids to school, we came past this window, and you know what? There was this backpack in a kid's shop, and it said, "Passionate storytellers for imaginative minds." And I couldn't help but wonder, why do you need storytelling these days to sell a backpack? So obviously you can. Some parents must think, wow, imaginative minds, passionate storytellers. Let's buy this overpriced backpack. So that's part of the power of storytelling as well. And before we dive into today's session, let me briefly introduce myself so you know with whom you're coping, okay? So I came up with this little infographic, okay? So you better know what I can talk about or where I'm coming from. I'm a journalist, and I have been a multimedia journalist and storyteller for quite some time now. I started at Deutsche Welle, Germany's international broadcaster, and did journalism there for quite some time. I did radio, I did online, and I did television. And I even tapped into social media and data journalism in the early days. Truth told, I got a bit bored by that and went back to university and got a degree in game design because I was so curious about the power of games to tell stories, convey messages, and do something called news games, combining journalism and games. I was intrigued by that for quite some time. So I did a bunch of games, and if we dive into that later, we can talk about storytelling in games as well, if you like. We find many things that you find in a good story in games as well. I stayed at that game company for around 5 years, and then I went to Berlin, Germany's capital, and founded a new company focusing on augmented and virtual reality. Because at that time it was really new, and I wanted to find out how can we use the new power of these new devices to tell stories in a different way. Actually, I've stopped doing that a year ago because I became totally obsessed with an app that is right now conquering the entire planet, TikTok, the Chinese vertical video storytelling tool. And for over a year now, I've been investigating TikTok. I've worked with media houses to set up TikTok accounts. I've been doing research on TikTok and the elections. So I'm pretty into TikTok these days because I think it shows a way on how storytelling will look in the years to come. So that's basically me, okay? And I prepared this little agenda for us today. And be aware there's even more. If you like today's session, there's another one tomorrow morning. What we'll be doing is we will be exploring a storytelling toolbox, okay, as a suggestion, the classic edition, stuff that people used in the 20th century or before to tell a good and captivating story. It's not like the entire toolbox, because, of course, we have seen in the chat that people from all over the place have different techniques, but I will present some ideas that might be inspiring, and we will check some examples to see how these theories and the toolbox actually works. After that, we will dive into 20th century storytelling, because I'm pretty convinced that some things are still the same, but some things have definitely changed. There were no mobile phones back in the 20th century, right? And the last bit of today's session will be about pitching a story. Because if you are a storyteller, or if you want to become a better storyteller, the best practice you can have is to pitch stories to editors, to friends, to colleagues. Because if you can drag them in, if you can convince them, then you can train your ability to tell better stories. That's the program for today. I hope you'll enjoy it. I will make sure to make it some sort of interactive. We will have some exercises and we can use the chat. So if you have any questions or anything, just throw them into the chat. From time to time, I will definitely check it and come back to your questions. And with having said that, let's say good morning to Elizabeth, Sadiq, Alex, Marcella, and all the others who have written to the chat. Thanks for doing that. And good morning to you. And without much further ado, let's talk about this guy. Okay? Has anyone any idea who that is? An old white man with a rifle in his hands. If you have any ideas, please feel free and throw them in the chat. I will tell you in a second why we talk about this man, okay? Munir has no idea, absolutely no worries. That's Ernest Hemingway, an American writer from the 20th century. I'm not 100% sure if you do need to be able to recognize him by his picture. He wrote a bunch of really great books. The Old Man and the Sea, for example, is one. Great storytelling. But why am I showing you his picture today? That's because of his story. Back at the beginning of the 20th century, Hemingway and his writer friends sat in a bar, okay? They were having drinks. And at one point he said, you know what? I'm able to write the shortest story ever because I only need 6 words for that. And his colleagues said, no way, that's not possible. But Hemingway insisted and he said, yeah, you know what? I will do it. I will write a story in 6 words. And if I do, you give me $10, which was quite a lot at the beginning of the 20th century. So he sat down, took a pen, wrote down 6 words, showed them to the others, and they agreed. Wow, that's a story. So here are the 6 words that Hemingway wrote down. For sale, baby shoes never worn. A complete, short, and sad story. A story that does something to your brain. At least if you have a heart, okay? For sale, baby shoes never worn. Just 6 words for an entire story. Some storytelling. Actually, this little idea to use 6 words to tell a story became some sort of a movement, and it's called 6-word memoir. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it's a little game, if you like, or a little exercise. The idea is to sit down and use 6 words to describe yourself, to describe what you have been doing in life, to describe what you like, what you want, like a full memoir, not thousands of pages, but 6. Okay. And I think this idea is quite striking because it helps you to focus and it helps you to learn a lot about storytelling. Because if you cannot hook people within 6 words, they will definitely not read your entire book full of 1,000 pages. So you need to apply some techniques here. Let me give you some examples. Okay. 1,000 wrinkles, 1,000 stories. 6 words. And if you like these words, maybe you want to learn more. Okay. Here's another one. They are all from a website called 6-Word Memoirs, where people just upload their 6 words. Okay. Eat, shit, fuck, love, cry, die. You learn something about that person pretty fast, don't you? Different approach. We had 2 sentences. Now we just have 6 words. So there are different ways to do storytelling, okay? Here's another one. Change what you are complaining about. Could be a motto for an entire life, or just a good idea to think about when you wake up in the morning. What do you make of that one? Sounded much better in my head. A full memoir. Here's another one, found on Craigslist, table, apartment, fiancé. Full life, now found on the internet. And I like that one, sitting on a white picket fence, undecided. Just first ideas of a pretty condensed form of storytelling. And you know what we will be doing now? I will share a link to the chat. It's a Google Doc, and I will make sure to share this Google Doc here as well. Let me see if I can find it. And I'd love you to click on the link and join this Google Doc, okay? So please click on the link and then you can join this Google Doc because we'll be doing a little interactive exercise. Okay, so let me see. We have an anonymous badger already here. Anyone else? The link is in the chat. Please make sure to click on it so that you can join the Google Doc. Because you're in, that's fantastic. Because I will give you a little exercise now and you can probably already guess. I want you to the link, Munira, the link. Yeah, I'm resending the link. It's in the chat. I hope that works now. Alex cannot see the link. Okay. I just reposted the link again.
Oh, no, you're sending it to host and panelist. You need to change to everyone.
To all of them. Okay. I thought that was all of us. Sorry for doing that. My apologies. Okay. Sorry, Manuel. You should be able to see the link now. My mistake. In Zoom, you just have this little drop-down menu. And obviously, I was just sending it to some of you. Sorry for that. Okay. So all of you should be able to see the link now. And I can see that some of you are joining the document. That's fantastic. So if you're on the document, you know what your job is right now. You see this column here, 6 words only, and you can start typing your 6-word memoir in. Okay. I'll just give you a minute or two. Close your eyes, think about who you actually are, who you want to be, or what you want people to know about you. And then be aware, 6 words only. Munira, you're raising your hand. Do you have a question?
Oh, apologies. I think it was from before.
Oh, no worries. I'm just
Thank you.
seeing it now because I was so concentrated on the chat. But if you've seen the link, that's fantastic.
Yes. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
cool. Yeah, you're welcome.
Marcus, maybe you could brief in the new guys who just joined on the exercise.
Sorry, didn't get that. Caleb, come again, please.
Maybe you could brief the new attendees.
Absolutely. Hi to our new viewers and users. We are right in the midst of a little exercise, okay? So I'm just sharing a link to the doc you're seeing here because we're doing the 6-word memoir exercise. The idea is to type in 6 words that describe yourself, that describe your entire life. Okay? So storytelling in a nutshell. We already have some great examples here. Normal is boring, weird is fun. A great idea, but on papers. In search of answers for life. You live and learn to love. That's a nice one, right? Capture a sense of your writing. And then we have a good one. I came, I saw, I left. Go where no man has been. Technology keeps changing. Storytellers must adapt. I give you another minute and you have a chance to join in, do the little exercise. And if you have already finished your exercise and you feel free and want to be open about your 6-word memoir, you can add your name in the first one, and I have 2 more questions to you, okay? I want to know about your superpower concerning storytelling. And I want to know what you need to learn, okay? If you know, then just type it in and we might tackle some of your questions along the way. Thanks for joining in the collaborative Google Doc. Here's some new ones. Social impact, treasure to influence, solutions, storytelling is the new transformation, God works in technological ways, am the best version of myself. You are reason enough to smile. Nice one. Thank you very much. So let's check a little bit about your superpowers. What have we got here? We have creative and solution storyteller, a good storyteller, some empathy. That's fantastic. We need that for good storytelling. Elizabeth doesn't know yet, where probably we explore something today. Egon writes Mojo and Sojo and needs to learn AR and VR. we will definitely tackle the topic AR and VR, but that's for tomorrow's session, okay? Today we open the two boxes and learn about pitching, but we will talk about some actual and future technology tomorrow, okay? Thank you very much. Omar says, my superpower is good storytelling as well. That's fantastic. Very good. Someone needs to learn tools and methods to use digital storytelling for change. I hope we can tackle that topic. Pretty sure about that. Gamifying stories. Very good. We will come back to this document later to just cross-check, okay? But right now, I'd rather jump into the slides so that we can start our little journey to learn some basics or recap some basics and probably tackle some ideas that are universal and that might help in all the situations, okay? So for now, thank you very much. We will go back to this doc later. For now, let me share the agenda with you. So start and input. That's what we'll be doing now. We will start with a buzzword, okay? Sorry for that. A lot of buzzwords, but we need them because the ideas behind them are pretty crucial. So the first one we will tackle today is user-centered design. Do you have an idea what I mean by that? What's that? If you have an idea, please, I'm happy to see some hands. You can, of course, just write into the chat if you have an idea about user-centered design. Emmanuel, please go ahead. You can just unmute yourself and...
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the same with what I'm thinking about, like human-centered design. Just thinking about how the end user will interact with whatever product that you are coming up with while you design it, so that you already have an idea of how they will interact with it and how they will, use it and the experiences that you have before, so that at the end of the day, when you finish designing, it is something that will work for whoever will be using it.
Absolutely. Very good. Thanks a lot. Venta, I can see your hand.
Great. Good morning. I would like to give an attempt. And I think it's not far from what the other person has said. I think user-centered design is whereby you design any message or a communique with an already identified user on your mind.
Absolutely. And thanks a lot. And we will talk a little bit more about why is that so important when you are telling stories, okay? So let's talk about this crystal ball for a second. This is your next project, your next story, your next video, audio, or whatever. And it's a crystal ball because before you start the entire process, you have a lot of ideas about your product in your brain, but it's not yet clear, okay? It's not yet there. It's just a lot of ideas humming around. And the thing is that many different people have different ideas about your product or project. And you need to aim for so many things. So when you work for a media company, of course, you want your boss to like your video. If you are producing a podcast, you want your colleagues to be jealous because your podcast is the best. It's the best because it has so much impact and it has many listeners. So there are many different expectations, okay? Maybe you just want to produce a nice product, while your boss wants big numbers and huge numbers of downloads. So we will focus on one target audience here. And let me just quickly check that's checked. Blessing just wrote, user-centered design is creating something with the end user in mind. Absolutely. And we need to think about the end user straight away. That's the end user. Because the end user has, in fact, just one tiny little question. But this question is around all the time. And do you know what kind of question that is? The one single question the end user, you and me, we all always have when we're consuming media. What's the question? So what, Bro Emanuel? Absolutely. I call it why, but it's basically the same thing. Why should I care about your media product? Why should I care about your story? There are so many stories out there. Kai wrote how. That's a really good question as well. But I'm not 100% sure if the end user asks how is this story being told or something. First and foremost, we're just about why. Why should I care? I have a limited amount of time. Why should I waste my entire morning in a Zoom call on storytelling when I could do the dishes, go for a walk, or have an extended breakfast? Okay, so why? And if you care about the why straight away, then you would be doing something good. Vete wrote who. These are all questions that are coming up as well. But first and foremost, we're asking ourselves, why should I care? So if you can manage to solve a problem for your end user, then the chances are higher that the end user will use your product, watch your video, listen to your podcasts. You should always make sure to add value, okay? That sounds like a bit blurry, but we can be pretty precise here. Whenever you produce a new piece of content, make sure to ask yourself, what kind of value do I add to the end user? They're better informed afterwards. They're feeling better. They know something new. They are outrageous now and want to change the world. How can you add this kind of value? And this is where it all comes down to storytelling, because if you tell a story, then you can add value and convince people to stay with you if you can give an answer to the why. Marcella wrote value because many people are looking for solutions. Absolutely. I am looking for solutions on the internet for problems. How do I get to the other end of town? Well, I can check when the next train is coming. That's a pretty concrete added value, but with storytelling as well. And let me give you an example here, okay? Let me introduce you to these two guys, Karius und Baktus, okay? That's a kid's book. And it's some pretty successful storytelling. And I give you the example. My two little girls never, ever cleaned their teeth. I could not convince them because they just hated the entire process. And I hated the entire process trying to get them clean their teeth. But then I heard about a book, and actually an audio book as well, about these two guys, Karius and Baktus, bacteria that destroy your teeth. And by playing that audiobook to my girls, I finally, through the magic power of storytelling, got them to clean their teeth, because now they had some sort of imagination. They knew why it was important, because there are these little fellas who try to build little houses in their teeth. And we do not want that, because that hurts, and then you have to go to the doctor. Okay? So I was so happy about this audiobook. It solved a problem and it added some value, because it convinced them and gave them an idea about an abstract concept. Why should you clean your teeth? Come on. But if you have a concrete image in your head, little bacteria destroying your teeth, building little houses and waiting for more sugar, that helps, at least when you're 3 or 6 years old. Okay? Can you think of other stories that have this sort of added value you came across? Open question. Marcella just wrote, my book is similar to cartoons that teach children about how to protect the environment. Exactly. That's exactly the same. The entire environment is a pretty abstract concept, okay? But if you have this cartoon and that cartoon breaks it down, that can definitely help. Any more examples that go into that direction? Okay, then thanks, Marcella. I wanted to talk about this user-centered design straight away, because if you think about the end user, from the first second you start something, then the rest of the way should be way easier. Because most of the time, it's not only about, do I like, am I convinced? Because in the end, it's the end user who decides. You normally cannot force them to do something, right? But you can apply some tools. And this is why we will open the toolbox right now, the toolbox for storytelling. And there are some things inside that toolbox that might be familiar, but it's quite cool to recap them. Okay? So let's open the toolbox and start with this guy. Another man, dead and long gone, and I added the hashtag father here. I added the hashtag because this guy, Aristotle, living 300 before Christ, is called, at least in a European context, he's called the father of logic, the father of biology, the father of political science, the father of zoology, the father of scientific methods in general, the father of rhetoric, and the father of meteorology. Oh my God, that's a complicated word for me. So obviously a pretty wise guy. And he came up with many ideas. And one of these ideas is hidden in his little book, Poetic. Okay. So please don't be disappointed when you learn about this magic rule. Aristotle, the father, a long time ago, found out something. He found out a whole is what has a beginning and a middle and an end. Oh my God, for real? I'm joining a storytelling workshop in the morning, and all this guy can come up with is like that a whole has a beginning, a middle, and the end. Indeed. And I will tell you more about that later, but we need to be absolutely aware that these are totally different things. Only if you have a strong beginning can you drag your users in. If you do not have any added value in the middle, your users, your listeners, your viewers, they will run away or just yawn, okay? And if you do not end on a particular note, if you do not have a call to action or a fulfilling end or a huge question mark in the end to start thinking about everything, then people will be disappointed. Okay? So I will definitely encourage and urge you to think about the beginning, the middle, and the end, always. And this brings us to a point where we will quickly cross-check, okay? I have these 2 examples, and we will watch them, 2 little videos. We will check out the beginning, okay? And we will learn a little bit more and discuss if that's a good beginning or if that's not a good beginning, okay? So just let me share another screen, and we will watch like 30 seconds of this video about a pretty weird German artist called Jonathan Miese. And we will check out the beginning of this video documentary, okay? So please check out the first 30 seconds. And after that, we can discuss, is that a good beginning or is that a bad beginning? Okay, here we go.
Breathe, sleep, eat, play, dream. This is what art says. Play, use color, sleep, eat a bread, make heat, make a fire, use the umbrella. That is art. That are the rules, that are the laws, that are the things. Art never tells you go voting. Art tells you not to be in a parliament and be a politician. Art doesn't tell you to be religious in a church. Art tells you to play around, use this, make this, use costumes, buy things, use your underwear. Look.
Okay, that's it. 40 seconds, okay? Would you continue watching? Anyone? Can I see some hands? Would you continue watching or do you just hate it? I'm curious about your take on that. There's no right or wrong. Okay. Munira says yes. Marcella says yes. Elizabeth says not really. Sasha says no. And Kai says no. Okay. Thanks for your honesty. And that's great because we've learned something while getting these answers. Okay. You will never, ever please the entire audience. Okay. When thinking about your end user, it always means some people will like it and some people will not like it. And that's totally normal, totally fine. Munira says, I believe in power of art and it's a good start. I personally think it's a good start if you are interested in art. Venta, call dropped, no worries, welcome back. We're just discussing this little video entry of a video about a German artist who's a bit crazy, by the way. So why do I think this is a pretty good example of a beginning? Because we are just thrown into his working place. We see a lot of different stuff and it's a lot of close-ups, okay? We don't see everything straight from the beginning. We're just thrown in and we can listen to his line of thinking and we see a lot of different images. If you are at all interested into art and this artist, that might drag you in. And the others who didn't like it, well, happy and glad for you. You don't need to spend like 15 minutes to listen to that. It's your choice. So I think this was a quite good example for starting a video concerning the topic of art because it's hooking people in. We're listening to that voice and we're seeing a lot of different things, okay? So one way to begin a video. Let's jump into another example, okay? We're watching the beginning of a video by Casey Neistat. That's US YouTuber. This video has been watched like over 14 million times. And the video is called Do What You Can't. So let's check out that for a couple of seconds.
To the haters, the doubters, my 7th grade vice principal. To everyone who's ever told anyone with a dream they can't. This video's for you. Keep your head down, follow the rules, do as you're told, play it safe. Wait your turn, ask permission, learn to compromise. This is terrible advice.
Okay, that's it. What's your take on this video? Welcome back, Alex. Connection was lost. You're back. That's good. Okay, Kai would definitely keep on watching. Marcella has a pretty good point. What's the point of the video? Maureen says the intro is catchy. Emmanuel would continue. And Sasha says, kindly play again. Absolutely. It's only 30 seconds. That's totally fine. Let's rewatch it. Here we go.
To the haters, the doubters, my 7th grade vice principal. To everyone who's ever told anyone with a dream they can't. This video's for you. Keep your head down, follow the rules, do as you're told, play it safe. Wait your turn, ask permission, learn to compromise. This is terrible advice.
Okay, here we go again. Board intro, right, Sadiq. Elizabeth will continue. Venter says, it aroused my curiosity. I continue watching. Okay, and Emmanuel says, I like the visuals in the beginning. Okay, I'd like to find out more. Yeah, same. I think this is a pretty good example on how to begin a video. Even though normally you might not be able to get a helicopter and fly around with a magic wand in your hand. Let's check out more remarks from the chat. Sasha would like to watch more. And Shem as well. And Munira says it will attract a young generation. Yes, I totally agree, because it's fast, right? And there's a lot of stuff happening. And Ruth says, I'd keep watching because of the intro, it catches one's attention. Yeah, I totally agree. This is a pretty bold and cool intro. The problem with the video in total, in my opinion, is that it has a great start, but then nothing happens. It just keeps on going like that. So when we think about this old guy, Aristotle, again, he was talking about a beginning, a middle, and the end of a video. If you just keep on hooking people in and you just keep on pushing, then people will get bored anyhow. That's why the beginning, the middle, and the end is so important. So we have seen a great intro, but if you continue watching the video, you will find out, well, it just keeps on going like that. This, ladies and gentlemen, was the beginning of the workshop. What we'll do now is we'll do a, let's say 12-minute break. Then we'll be back at 11:15. And if you're curious to find out more, you can watch this video in the meantime. It's nearly 4 minutes long. And I'm, of course, pretty curious to learn more about your thoughts on the entire video. Okay? So we meet back at 1:15. Okay? Get yourself a drink and we'll be back in roughly 10 minutes. See you in a bit.
Hi guys, my name is Caleb. I'm the Communications Officer at the Media Innovation Center. And I'm super excited to let you know that we've done our call for applications for our Innovators in Residence program. Now, since 2019, we've done 2 calls. First one, we onboarded 2 teams, and the second call, we onboarded 3 teams. But this year we're doing it a little bit different. How so? Daktari, tell them why.
Thank you, Caleb. Hi, my name is Jackie Chege, Director of the Media Innovation Center at the Aga Khan University. Like Caleb rightly mentioned, this year we're not taking 2 or 3, but 9 teams of media innovators. Yes, 9 teams. Exciting, right? Out of those 9 teams, 7 slots have been reserved for innovators working that this time tunaenda mashinani.
9 teams, that gets me so excited. The support that we give all our startups is huge, beginning with a fully furnished office. Secondly, we give world-class trainings, mentorships, and coaching to all our teams. Thirdly, but definitely the icing on the cake, is $20,000 for each of our 9 teams. I really can't wait to see your ideas.
There you have it. I told you we're doing things differently. 9 teams, $20,000 grant each. Very exciting stuff. So visit www.mediainnovationnetwork.org to submit your application. Remember, you have until the 31st of August before the deadline. Apply now.
Hi guys, welcome to the Media Innovation Center here at Aga Khan University. My name is Hesbon Hansen Ochieng-Owila, and today we are going to take you through the application process for our Innovators in Residence program. Karibuni. WhatsApp is our first offline application option, and it is very easy. Send a request form to our office number +254 780 993 137, and our communication officer will respond by sending you a Google form that you'll use for the application. Once you receive the questions, read them carefully and answer them in a separate sheet. Once you're done, open your WhatsApp and begin typing question and answer. Then click send. Our communication officer will then fill in your answers to our Google Doc and submit. You see? Very easy. My colleague Claire will explain the other offline options.
Thank you, Hesbon. Hi guys, my name is Claire Mogere, and as explained, I'm going to show you other offline options of applying for the Innovators in Residence program. If you cannot access internet or WhatsApp, you can drop off your application at our drop-off centers in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Visit our social media channels for tips on application. And don't forget, the application deadline is 31st August. We look forward to receiving your applications.
Hello everyone, my name is Njoki Shege. I work as the Director of the Innovation Center GSMC at Aga Khan University. I'm here to give you some tips and tricks for submitting the winning application for our Innovators in Residence program. Number 1, always read and understand the provided guidelines. In fact, read them twice to ensure that you give us exactly what we're looking for. Number 2, always substantiate a statement with some evidence. For everything that you tell us, ensure that you give us some numbers, some statistics, and some research to back what you're saying. Remember, numbers don't lie. Number 3, make it easy for us to read your work. Don't be too technical, don't use so much jargon, and definitely don't use some difficult English words. Make your application simple and easy to read. Remember, always show, don't tell. And don't forget to submit your application here.
My name is Hesbon Hansen Ochieng-Owila. I'm the Research Associate at the Graduate School of Media and Communication here at Aga. Application for the Innovators in Residence, a great application. Number 1, read and proofread your application. Take your time to ensure that there are no spelling or construction mistakes. Number 2, don't be a last-minute applicant. Put your team together, delegate if you have to. Give people enough time to work on the application. It is important to have that time to do the right thing in making your application great. Number 3, look at your application, the idea against viability. Investors, sponsors, and partners today are not just looking for great ideas. They are looking for ideas that are viable. And in your application, that's all you need to demonstrate the commercial viability and sustainability of your idea. Once you're done, send your application here.
My name is Laura Ekumbo.
Hello, I'm Alea Kasim.
And we are the L and the A of the Lamb Sisterhood. We are currently in our offices at the Aga Khan Media Innovation Center because we are
Innovators in Residence. Very exciting. And we are working on our podcast, which is the project that we are innovating. And some of the benefits of this program are office space.
Like this one, access to tech, like that's a big Katibi that you see.
That one. Investment into your product.
Trainings into how to make your products viable, financially viable.
That's an incredible network.
Yeah.
And all sorts of other resources. And the best thing also is being in residency with other East Africans, like Minority Africa and Honor Stories, who we're always learning from.
Yeah, so apply.
Good luck!
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you took the time to get a glass of water, relax, or watch fantastic Media Innovation Center videos, or you even took the chance and checked out Casey Neistat's video in total. Are we all back? Could I see some hands? Ladies and gentlemen, Venta, Emmanuel, you there? That's good. What about the rest of the crowd? Yeah, Alex, good to see all of you back. Sasha's back too. That's cool. So anyone who checked out the entire Casey Neistat video? Okay. Well, truth told, it just keeps on going like that for 4 minutes straight. So you didn't miss that much. Here, okay, Munira is here too. Very good. So let's continue. And I'll give you a quick overview on what we will be doing until the end of the session. So we will need to talk a little bit about the classic toolbox, okay? I'll give you 2 more phases and 2 more ideas and concepts. Some of you might already be familiar with them. For others, it might be a new thought. Then we will directly jump into the 21st century and talk a little bit about aesthetics and ways on telling stories. You hear a lot of buzzwords flying around in the year 2021. So you're all up to date when it comes to new ways of storytelling. And after that, little exercise as well. We will be talking about pitching stories, okay? Very good. So let me just share some of the slides and I'd quickly take you through another crucial thing about storytelling. So far, we've recapped and heard about the beginning, middle, end part. Important, always. And now let me introduce you to this gentleman, Christopher John Penrice Booker. This English journalist has been investigating storytelling for 34 years. That's a pretty long time, okay? And after 34 years, he came up with a book, The 7 Basic Plots. So he checked out how mankind has been telling stories throughout time, and he has identified several plots that always work. For example, rags to riches, okay? From the dishwasher to the millionaire, that's a classic old school plot. It always works. If you're asking yourself now, yeah, fine, that's good for a Hollywood movie, how does that actually help me to tell my story? Well, you can think about basic plots and probably you can apply them to your story. We're breaking it down to the one most important thing here, okay? And that's that. The key thesis of this book about the 7 plots is however many characters may appear in a story, its real concern is with just one, its hero. It is the one whose fate we identify with. You've probably heard about the hero's journey. If not, we will tackle that in a second. But just take a moment and reflect on your stories that you have told. Did they have a hero? Of course, a hero is not always like Superman in a cape or something, but a protagonist that has something to conquer, okay? Because that's crucial for a good story. If you tell the story of a woman who went shopping, came home and made dinner, probably that's not that interesting to a broader audience. If you tell the story of this woman who went shopping and then saved 20 lives by doing something, that might be a story that would be a little bit worth telling. And of course, hero stories are not that obvious all the time. Sometimes the hero looks and acts totally different. That's some sort of a hero. Have you seen him before? Are you familiar with his story? Dogface 208. Is anyone familiar with him? Have you seen him? Then please hands up or write in the chat. This unemployed US American was driving his car and then he ran out of petrol. Okay? And all he did then was take his skateboard and a bottle of cranberry juice, and then he went to go to the next petrol station. And while doing that, he filmed a selfie video with himself singing a Fleetwood Mac song. Okay, let's check out this little video for a second. It's only 25 seconds. Here we go.
Now here you go again. You say you want your freedom. Well, who am I to keep you down? It's only right that you should play the way you feel it.
That's it. That's actually all. Just a 25-second video on TikTok. And of course, I cannot see, but I can feel your huge question marks above your heads. Why is that a hero's journey? Why is he a hero? What has he done? He was just singing, okay? Sometimes the hero's journey is just around your entire story. So probably it's not just this video, but the entire story around that video, okay? Because this guy, Nathan, was just an ordinary guy, okay? He posted this video on TikTok and it totally blew up. It totally got viral because it somehow hit a nerve last year with people being in lockdown, being dragged down by the coronavirus. And he just had this couple of seconds of somewhat like pure freedom, just riding along, singing a song. So it hit a nerve and many people watched this video. And many people afterwards went to supermarkets to get some cranberry juice. I've seen pictures of supermarkets where you couldn't get any because it was all sold out. And the song we just heard by the Fleetwood Mac, a band from the 1970s, it rose back to the top in the top 10 because people wanted to download and listen to the song again and again and again. And many people reenacted this skateboarding scene, including celebrities, the members of the band, etc., etc., etc. So what happened is that the people who produced this cranberry juice, they just bought this Nathan guy a house and did some sponsorship. And ever since, he has become a really famous celebrity in the US just because of this little video that's representing something that's pretty important in 21st century storytelling. It has a sort of realness around it, okay? So what we're seeing here is some sort of hero's journey as well. Not in the product itself, but around it. Pretty powerful. Of course, you cannot plan that. Going back to the concept of the hero's journey, you might be familiar with a creature like that and with a story around that. We're back to the 20th century and back to Hollywood. Of course, we're talking about Star Wars. But before we come to this huge Hollywood franchise and talk about why it became successful, let me introduce to you another white man from the 20th century. That's Joseph Campbell, okay? He has been doing some research on storytelling forever and ever, and he totally dived into the concept of the hero story and the hero's journey. While the guy we've seen before was all about, yeah, hero is important, there are several plots, Joseph Campbell really got to the bottom of the entire hero thing. And he actually met George Lucas, who was just thinking about doing a new movie in the 70s about, these people solving serious problem of the planet and others. So what happened next is that this professor of literature met this young movie guy, and they talked, and Joseph Campbell helped to build this whole saga, good versus bad, and he applied everything he learned about the entire story of the hero and its journey. Okay, so it's not only having a hero, but this hero is supposed to do something. And the hero's journey is one of the common templates of all stories. Okay, I will show you the concept, and we'll pretty soon see that it's rather complex. Okay, so if you want to take this tool and apply it in full, then, ladies and gentlemen, this is the entire hero's journey. Okay, maybe you recognize something from movies or series you've seen. The hero always starts in the known world, gets a call to adventure, and then goes to the unknown. There are some mentors who help him along the way. There are challenges and temptations. There's the revelation and a transformation, the atonement, and the return of the hero. You can definitely do that when you have 90 minutes and want to produce a Hollywood movie, right? If you want to produce a TikTok video that's 15 seconds long or a minute, it might be a bit too much to apply all of these little tips and tricks. And when you are telling a story, producing a podcast, it might be a very good idea to know about the concept of the hero's journey, but I'd rather not try to apply all of these little stations here, okay? But it's just good to know that it exists, to be able to use it in the 21st century to remix some of these ideas now, okay? And if you were asking yourself, for how long will he keep on telling us about 20th century tools? We're coming to an end here, okay? A main takeaway and another concept that combines the 20th and the 21st century is another tiny little concept. It's not as big as the hero's journey. It has this abbreviation, SLAT, a slat. That's a pretty concrete example. We have been already talking about the hook. SLAT stands for, excuse my language, shit, look at that. You see, we're back to the beginning. Drag me in. Convince me that your story is captivating and is interesting to me. So if you start with a strong image, a strong sentence, a strong scenery, or with the biggest burger ever, that will definitely drag me in. And we're coming full circle. If you talk about beginning, middle, and end, please make sure to give me some added value in the middle part, an emotional and a content-wise value. I want to learn something, and I want to have an emotion. And make sure to end on a good note. In a social media age, please end with a call to action. What are your viewers and listeners, readers and users are supposed to be doing right now? They should like, comment, share, tell their neighbors about your media piece. I know that's a lot to digest, okay? But we have been talking now about 3 core concepts of storytelling that might help make your stories better. We've been talking about Aristotle's beginning, middle, end. I've been enforcing that by talking a lot about hooking people in with a shit, look at that moment. And if your story has a protagonist, a clear protagonist that has a task and is doing something and learning something along the way, that can definitely help your story. Okay? 3 things, 3 main takeaways from the toolbox, the classical edition. Let's take a moment and pause here. Do you have questions about that? Anything that remains unclear, or do you have any remarks on that? Please feel free, just unmute yourself and tell me and tell us. No, all good? Or have you just fallen asleep? Emmanuel, that sounds interesting, like the call to action concept for the ending. Yeah, thanks for that. I can talk a little bit more about this SLAT concept because I didn't make it up. I just learned it from a colleague who got in contact with it at the BBC in the 1990s. Because the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, was under a lot of pressure back in the days, because for years and years and years, there was just the public broadcaster. And suddenly there were a lot of new private channels. And of course, something happened, the remote control. So people were just zapping and jumping from one television station to the next. So at the editorial team meeting at the BBC, they said something like, okay, you know what? Every couple of minutes, we need a SLAT moment. A moment where people take the remote control and put it down, where they call someone from the next room and say, oh my God, have you seen that? You must definitely watch that. That's 20th century. And in the 21st century, you know very well about that SLAT moment. It's the so-called thumb stopper. You're scrolling or swiping all the time, but from time to time, your finger goes away from the screen because you're like, oh, yeah, that's important. That's interesting. Haven't heard about that. And we need to aim for these moments. It doesn't help if you spend so much of your crucial time coming up with a great story. You've done research, you filmed, you edited, and then people will just scroll or swipe away after 2 seconds because you have not started with a shit, look at that moment. Okay, there's more in the chats. Munira writes, please shed some light on power of storytelling to help common and to highlight issues faced by marginalized. I'm just collecting. I do not quite understand the hero's journey concept and how to apply it to storytelling. Okay, I want to know more about apps or sites where we can start a journey to say document stories to help people facing health-related issues. Okay. Marcella writes, thanks, Marcus. The examples were relevant and precise. The presentation was amazing. This has been constructive. Marcella, and it's not yet over. Please stay with me. We're still tackling the 21st century stuff, okay? Okay, so let's start with the concept of the hero's journey and how to apply it to storytelling, Elizabeth. What we've just seen was the, let's call it academic full picture, okay? Normally, you can just forget about this huge circle and just break it down. So when you tell the story of a person, just make sure that this person is actually living through something that's worthwhile telling, okay? As there's this saying, if a dog bites a man or a woman, that's not a story. If a man or a woman bites a dog, then I'm intrigued and I would love to learn more about this hero biting dogs. Okay? So please don't be confused by this pretty big concept. It's just good to know that people have been spending so much time thinking about how to do the full hero's journey. But as said again, it's more like for a Hollywood movie. And if you come up with a small story, maybe a podcast, a video, an audio, whatsoever, just make sure that you have a real story to tell with people, and something happens to these people and they can conquer something or they learn something and they come back a little different. Otherwise, if you're telling a story and nothing happens, that's a rather boring story. Try to tell that to your kids if you have some. They will just say, that's not a story, that's boring. What is happening? Okay. So that's basically the core concept of the hero's journey. Just make sure that something worthwhile is happening. And the story you're telling is a story. And you're not just talking about, let's say, a topic. A topic is just like, people in the city and they're struggling because there's too many deaths by cars and not enough cycling roads. That's a topic. A story would be, we meet a person who has been an avid car driver for most of her life, and now she's on her bike and she cannot understand how she was ever able to go by car. And she's just like a totally convinced bike person. I don't know if that's a really good example. It just came to my mind. Okay. So I hope that helped you to make it clear. Okay. Oh, thanks. Thanks for the feedback in the chat. Okay. Munira asked about people facing health-related issues. My approach, like the storytelling approach, is that these elements of the toolbox, they're rather universal. So if you apply these methods like beginning, middle, end, SLAT, or the hero's journey, you can apply them to whatever kind of topic you're tackling. Because if you're telling a health story, of course, this health story needs to drag me in. Take, for example, a COVID story. There have been millions of corona-related stories. We all have heard so many. So you really have to be careful how to tell the story so people are intrigued and dragged in. Okay? So what's the new thing in your story? And where is the, if you have identified, where's the journey of the hero? Okay? That was a lot to take in, and this is why I now want to show you a little example. It's another way of storytelling. It's one of my favorite examples, and we will just watch it without further comment, okay? And please make sure to check out this example, and we will discuss it afterwards. Okay. It's called People in Order.
Two. 5. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. I'm 12.
13.
15.
16.
18. 20.
24.
25.
26.
31. 32. 33.
37.
38.
39.
Sorry for that. I get some feedback that you cannot see the entire screen. Let me do two things before we continue. I'm just posting the link to the YouTube video on the chat, and I will just play it here. So either way, you should be able to see the entire video, okay?
43.
45.
49.
51.
53.
57. 60. 65.
68. 71. 73.
78.
80-year-old.
81. I'm 83 years old.
84.
85.
86. I'm 89.
91. I'm playing the drums.
93. I'm 94.
I am 96-year-old.
Mabel, how old are you? How old are you?
I am 98.
99.
100. Is that it?
That's definitely it. Thanks for watching. Manira gave some feedback in the chat. This is beautiful. Some more remarks. I'm happy to hear more. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Chichanga writes, love it. Maureen hates it. Sasha loves it. Ruth says, I love it. Okay. Maureen, could you elaborate a bit? Why did you hate it? Feel free to unmute yourself. Talk to us.
Okay, I hate it because I felt like there was too much repetition. It's like I knew what was going on next. I could predict people are just saying their ages and whatnot.
You're absolutely right. Thanks for that. So could one of the others who liked it could elaborate a little bit on that? Why did you like it?
I can comment.
That would be great. Chitonga, why did you like it?
I liked it because even though it was predictable, it showed, first, to get so many people, 100 people to do that is no easy task. Secondly, you can call it the beat of life. Reaching 100 it's a story of life, of different people in life, age. It has so many male, female, what do you call this? Ethnicities that are different, placements that are different, careers that are different. So it is a very interesting span and the rainbow of the people who are involved with in life, so to speak. So that's why I found it very interesting, a very nice, simple way of a monotonous tap on the drum beat, but all marching towards the inevitable.
Thank you very much for that. Munira, you raised your hand as well.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me, Marcus?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. As Professor Kitonga said, it's all about inclusivity. And also, when they were beating the drum, the way different people are expressing it is just so unique and different. So that's why I really liked it. And again, I mean, gathering so many people and to get their agreement on participating in such a video is a huge accomplishment. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you very much. And Elizabeth just wrote, I liked it because seeing the different people and their ages and how they look like, it was interesting to watch. Yeah, I totally agree. And there are several takeaways here. Chitonga adds, that's the word, inclusivity and the uniqueness. Absolutely. Let me sum up some takeaways that I had when watching that. First and foremost, this video works for many people because it's all about connection, okay? Connecting to other people. It just takes a few seconds to connect to a person to get an idea how that person is. Like Munira righteously said, how people beat the drum. Some very soft, some very energetic, like this 15-year-old boy is nearly destroying it because he's so full of energy, while the people beyond their 90s, they don't have this energy like a 15-year-old. So we have a pretty cool storytelling concept here because the hero is mankind in general, going from beginning to an end. And there are several times in this video where you can connect, especially. You can, of course, always connect when there's a person that has the age that you're having right now. And maybe you're having parents and you're having kids, so you will definitely connect to this video then. Or you have friends in a certain age, then you will connect. And that makes this video pretty strong. And it is, another takeaway, a pretty simple concept. It's understood very fast and nevertheless hard to produce. We were talking about that. So this video is quite old, but to me, it nevertheless still works. So another takeaway could be concepts or ideas that are from the 20th century, nevertheless, can still work in the 21st century. That's for sure. Emmanuel poses a really interesting question. How many young people would watch this video to the end? That's a pretty good question because it's all about the user-centered design. So if we would produce a video for younger people, would we do it like that? I'm not 100% sure. I'm showing this video in workshops with younger journalists, like in their 20s. And most of them, they really, really enjoy this video. I'm not sure how a user testing would work if we would show this video to, let's say, 12-year-old people. But they have parents and grandparents as well. So we definitely need to find out. But this definitely takes us from the toolbox of the 20th century to the toolbox of the 21st century. Okay? And please bear with me. I once saw this book cover about the internet. It's from the 90s, and I really love it. It's just like surfing on the internet, right? We've already seen this guy taking us into the 21st century. And we will spend a couple of minutes now to talk a little bit about TikTok, okay? And TikTok, you can like it, you can hate it, or you can ignore it, that's fine. But nevertheless, the most downloaded app on the entire globe is currently showing how videos and stories are told on mobile phones. And you can see that because Facebook and Instagram are desperately trying to copy the concepts of TikTok with, for instance, Instagram Reels, etc. So this is why we will spend some minutes now to talk about some concepts that are more 21st century-like, that are used in current storytelling, before we will do our last little exercise today, which will see you trying to pitch a story. But before that, let's talk a little bit about TikTok. I know that it's not hugely popular among journalists and among media people around the globe yet. But as said before, I think it's crucial to get to know some concepts. Could I see some hands? Is anyone an active, avid TikTok user here? And please show us a hand or use the chat. I've seen in the chat that Caleb said that he knew Dot Face from a TikTok video. Okay, Elizabeth and Munira say, no, never ever used it. As said before, no worries, that's totally fine. It's not exactly 100% about using this platform. It's more about understanding how storytelling is done in the year 2021. Caleb is a passive user, just watches videos. Okay. Avid consumer, says Kai, used to be. Blessing, that sounds like a drug addiction. Are you over with TikTok? I totally get that. It can be really time consuming. Okay, Emmanuel thinks about downloading it. Very good. So what I will not do is I will not do like an entire intro to TikTok. This is the app, download it. This is how you can produce a video. We're directly starting with an analytical view, okay? I will directly give you hopefully an understanding on what this platform is doing to storytelling in the 20th century, 21st century. So I've identified different things, different bits and pieces that are pretty unique to the platform. And the one thing that we will be talking about now is the design elements. And that should be interesting for all storytellers and people in media companies, because these are some concepts that are fairly new and are fairly special, and that will more or less find their way into the mainstream. So I will be talking about concepts like high density. I will be talking about layered storytelling. We already tackled the realness thing. You remember Nathan, the guy on the skateboard? This was not like a fantastic Instagram video, because Instagram normally is all about showing the best life you can live, okay? Sun going down, you have a fantastic meal, and you're looking good. Nathan was not like that in his video, but he was real. And we will talk about memes, okay? So, of course, I will show you some examples to get an understanding. TikTok started with a total maximum length of 15 seconds or 1 minute. And TikTok videos were seen as a new development after the world had seen the stories concept on Snapchat and Instagram, with story slides where you have 15 seconds of video or photo, and you could tap through these stories and the story would elaborate and happen in real time. So on TikTok, everything is a bit faster. You remember when we were talking about SLAT or hooks or thumb stoppers? Checking TikTok is a constant fight for thumb stoppers. You do not have the time to find into your story. Either you like it or hate it, you're hooked or you're not. And this leads to pretty interesting video ideas. And I will present one of these to you now. Let me just quickly get the video on the screen. Okay. So let's start with high density. A lot of stuff is happening in a limited amount of time. Okay. What we're seeing now is a 1-minute video. Without much further ado, let's check that one out. High density, okay? Okay, that's it. An example for high density videos. Caleb writes, I watch your videos a lot. Wow, how cool is that? Caleb, can you elaborate a bit? Why are you watching them? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Tell us more.
I think I like the creativity and the way it's like an action movie, because most of these things you've seen from kung fu kind of movies, the martial arts, and also I think the editing is really creative. I think it's just an enjoyable experience, and then at the end of the day, it's also still food.
Absolutely, absolutely. So martial arts and foods put together sounds like a great idea. Thanks. Blessing. It reminds you of an anime called Food Wars. I want to know all about that one. That has an intriguing title. Okay. Anyone else? Any ideas about that video? Did you like it or did you hate it? Of course, I'm especially curious about you, Maureen. Did you prefer that one to the one with the numbers? Okay. Anyone else? Any opinions on the video? Anyone who really hated it? I'm all ears. Can you play it again? I lost my connection. Oh, sorry for that. I will definitely send the link to the chat. Okay. And Emmanuel has raised a hand, but I think Munira has a question. There's a meeting in 5 minutes and she's set to leave the session. And is this recording? Well, it is recorded, but will it be available after the session ends? I'm not 100% sure. Caleb, will it be available? Yeah, it will be on YouTube. Oh, perfect. Okay. So you're not missing that much. Of course, you will miss the live presence, but you can check that. And the notes, Kai's asking about the notes. I can definitely offer to share the presentation as a PDF afterwards. So you can definitely cross-check if you missed something. Okay, Helen wrote, it's funny and engaging, but a lot of work for sure. These high-density videos are a lot of work. Sometimes the producers work 8 hours for like 10 or 15 seconds. And of course, you do need to take that into account. It takes like forever. Okay. And Elizabeth has a really good take on that. Seemed far-fetched, started okay, got boring along the way for me. Absolutely. And you know why? Because this high density, as we've seen here, is great for hook in the beginning. But if you don't get your added value, on a content side and an emotional side, all this action gets rather boring after some time. So probably it's a good idea to keep into mind the BME concept, the beginning, the middle, and the end. So probably in the middle, something more would have been nice. Okay, so we've already explored this one thing called high density. A lot of stuff happening at the same time to hook people in and to keep them from scrolling. Even more important in the 21st century than it was in the 20th, because, easy example, if you went to the movies, you bought a ticket, got yourself some popcorn, and you're watching a movie, you're not leaving after 5 minutes because you still have popcorn and you paid for the ticket. Checking out TikTok or other social media on your smartphone, of course, is a totally different game. If you're bored after second 2, then you're off. So producers have to think of many ways to attract the viewer's attention. And another concept is the so-called layered storytelling, okay?
Getting a divorce in
there are many, many different ways on how to apply the layering of information levels. And I will show you an example straight away. It's about Korean food and it's about more. So let's check that out for a minute.
Getting a divorce in Korean culture is still pretty taboo, so I was a little worried about my parents' reaction when I finally filed. But I was pretty surprised. My mom told me that if he ever showed his face, she would beat the shit out of him. And my dad rose a glass to me over dinner and then tried to shake my hand in congratulations like I just announced a promotion. I'd always wondered how much it had hurt my dad when I came running to their house, crying and shaking after another grueling fight with my ex. But he never said anything, to the point I sometimes wondered whether he'd even noticed how much my heart was breaking. I always chalked it up to the comfortable aloofness he and I had developed. I don't think my dad has ever once said the words "I love you" to me in all 40 plus years of my life. But every year on my birthday, he would send me a pretty pink card with flowers on it and write "I love you," followed by a note that always made me cry. The year I got my divorce, though, he wrote something a little different. "I love you. It's time to move on, isn't it?" And for some reason, the "isn't it" told me just how much my father had cried with me, even when I wasn't looking.
Okay, totally different style of video, totally different pace. Could I get some opinion on this video, combining preparing food, sorry to present that to you right before lunch, and talking about a divorce? Did you like it? Hate it? Any opinions on that? Feel free to use the chat or raise a hand. Okay, Chitonga is hungry now. Emmanuel says intriguing. Could you elaborate on that a little bit? Why did you find that intriguing?
I found it intriguing because whatever visuals we are seeing are visuals of her preparing a meal. And so she talks about the divorce and the relationship with the dad. And of course, we finally see the letter, the card, where the father had written that message. But I just find it different. And like when I say intriguing, I mean in a good way, because now we are all hooked to the very end of the story.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Caleb says a different approach to sharing sad news as opposed to crying faces, etc. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Elizabeth writes, liked it. I was drawn into her story at the same time watching her add the ingredients into the pan. Yeah, that's great to hear, because I think that is a really interesting way of doing storytelling, because both elements, we try to combine them and they somehow seem to add up. So the sum of the parts is more than just the parts. And I think it's a really interesting way to get and keep the viewer's attention, even though some colleagues of mine, they really hate it because they say it's too much. They can neither concentrate on the one side or the other sides. Okay, very good. Layered storytelling. Of course, there are different forms of layering stuff. What we've seen here is we've seen one video layer and we have seen an audio layer. Let me give you another example by a media company in the US. They produce a podcast called Planet Money, pretty good economy podcast. And their normal audience is not found amongst TikTok users. They normally have people listening to podcasts to learn more about the economy, but they had a trainee and they asked him to set up a TikTok account, and they actually told him to just go wild, okay? So this is what he did. And I want to show you an example because besides adding video and audio, of course, you can play around with different, just a second, with different video layers. And for those who have been editing video, pay close attention how many video layers we have in this example, okay? Here we go. Let's check that one.
What's wrong, clothing brand giant J.Crew? Who are you? I'm your shell company, J.Crew Cayman Limited. You can use me to move assets if you want to start a new business. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, tell me about it. I have a shell company of my own. Oh, well, I borrowed a bunch of money with my trademark as collateral, but now I need more money. Here, give it to me. I'll put it over here so you can use it to borrow even more money. That's legal? That's legal. That's legal. It's legal. That's legal. That's legal. That's legal. That's legal.
Okay. I hope this didn't disturb you, but do you have any thoughts on this kind of storytelling, which was applied by a media company? Again, we have layered storytelling here, and it's just in the little things. Back in the 20th century, you needed a green screen in the studio to combine several layers of video. Here, it's just done on a mobile phone. So it's a pretty dense production with one video layer in the back, another one with a guy. We've got the image of a skateboard that is just animated, turning around, while the guy in the second layer is just jumping. And there's a lot of stuff going on to produce something that is supposed to be seen several times to unfold the story and to understand what's going on here. Let me just give you one final example of the Washington Post using TikTok, just to learn that it's not only teenagers using the app, but it's one of the big media houses in the US as well. They just yesterday had this new job offering because they're looking for 2 new producers helping with TikTok. So obviously it's a growing business.
Dave. Jeff!
Sorry. And I will just play this one TikTok video to you about a journalistic piece, okay? Pay close attention, here we go.
Hello, Dave.
Jeff, what are you doing on my phone?
The real question is, what's going on inside your TikTok app? When you open TikTok, it grabs your location, your age, your contacts, every video you watch, and even the ones you just look at for a second. But that's still less data than Facebook grabs about you.
Wait, is China spying on me too?
Your data isn't stored in China, and TikTok says it has not and will not give your data to the Chinese government. But you have to decide for yourself whether you believe them. Also, Dave, your dance moves are not good enough to steal.
Okay, how do I turn you off?
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
Okay, that was 40 seconds of the Washington Post producing a video. And thanks, Emmanuel, by the way, for your message about the video before. I bet that's a lot of work to produce. Couldn't get the message straight on, but I see all the layers. Same. It took me ages to understand the journalistic context, but I was intrigued by all the work of layers. What do you think about the Washington Post producing TikTok videos like that? Any opinions? I think it's just interesting from a production point of view. Controversial, Marcella writes. Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, they try to get new audiences because younger audience are not definitely buying a newspaper on paper. Okay. Effective message, TikTok versus Facebook. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So for me, it's quite interesting to see this journalist sitting in his jogging pants in a living room talking about content instead of sitting in an office with a suit. But obviously people watch stuff like that. The numbers are really big. Venta writes, it calls for deep thinking and it's engaging. Absolutely, because in this video, there's something that's pretty big on TikTok and important, and that's the rewatchability. Because if you watch the video closely, you will see that the beginning and the end, they perfectly fit. So you don't get exactly the point when the video has been played once. So you just watch it again. So that's an interesting point to keep people intrigued. Okay. Very good. The final thing, I want to dive into TikTok. Then we do the exercise and hopefully have lunch, is that there are totally new ways of working together and using this power for doing journalism. Okay? Because TikTok became quite famous because you were able to produce so-called duets. Are you familiar with the concept of a duet? Totally new way of telling stories or building up a storytelling approach. Anyone familiar? Caleb says yes. Okay. Caleb, would you mind quickly explaining what is a duet on TikTok?
So basically, I'll do a video, and then within the video, I'll allow someone to actually make a video with using my video. So they can either download or they can just edit to have the two videos running at the same time. So it means it's like a song. So I'll sing one part, like specific phrases of a song, and then someone else like Marcus will come in and sing the other phrases of the song. So now it looks like we are singing it at the same time.
Absolutely. It's a really cool way of working together. And you mentioned a song, so I will definitely play a song to you so you get the concept. And if you've understood the concept, I will, of course, present a journalistic example on how to use a duet, okay? So let's take a moment to check out this supermarket, grocery store duet, okay? So the idea, and that what we will be seeing right now, is this guy on TikTok in front of a supermarket. He's not really there, it's a green screen. And he wants to do a musical theater show with a really nice story. Who does not know that? Fight of partners in the supermarket. So he starts and asks the entire audience on TikTok, if you want, you can play a part in my musical. Okay, so let's listen to the first video so we understand where this will be taking us.
And we're fighting in a grocery store, and I love you, but I don't know if I like you anymore. We're standing right in aisle 9, and you promised everything was fine. Still, we're fighting in a grocery store. And I love you, but I don't know if I like you anymore.
Okay, so what we're seeing here is some actual storytelling, but this guy is totally alone. So someone on TikTok saw the video and decided to duet it. And that was a good decision, okay? So here's the result of the duet.
And we're fighting in a grocery store, and I love you anymore. We're standing right in aisle 9, and you promised. I promise. Fine.
And we are.
We're fighting in a grocery store.
Daniel, please, we can make this work. We are better than this. Because I love you.
But I don't know,
You don't know.
if I like you anymore.
No, please,
Okay, you hopefully get the idea.
And we're fighting.
Sorry. But of course, people kept on doing that. Okay, so we have mom and dad. So let's add the child.
And we're fighting in a grocery store, and I love you anymore. We're standing right in aisle 9, and you promised. Fine.
And we are.
We're fighting in a grocery store.
Daniel, please, we can make this work. We are better than this. Because I love you.
But I don't know,
You don't know.
if I like you anymore.
No, please,
Okay, we just keep on doing that for 2 more videos, okay? Because then the employee comes in.
And we're fighting in a grocery store, the place that I work with from 9 to 4, and I've got no one here, and I'm on my own. Fine.
And we are.
In this grocery store, in a grocery store.
Daniel, please, we can make this work. We are better than this. Because I love you.
But I don't know, if I like you. If he likes her anymore.
No, please,
We close at 9.
Okay, just one more because we need the can of soup. And then I'll stop, I promise.
And we're fighting in a grocery store, the place that I work with from 9 to 4. I'm a can of soup. I'm on my own. Fine.
And we are.
In this grocery store, in a grocery store.
Daniel, please, we can make this work. We are better than this.
I'm a can of
Because I love you.
But I don't know, if I like you. If he likes her. I'm a can of soup.
No, please,
We close.
Okay. Oh, I hope the others could hear something. Joseph wrote that he cannot hear a voice. That's, of course, bad because it's all about singing. I would stop here, but this duet functionality kept on going with a squeaky wheel and the automatic door and the random voice that comes over the speaker. It kept on going, okay, until no one could see anything because the screen was too full. And I'm deeply impressed by this creativity, of course. And my huge question is, how can storytellers keep on applying this functionality? This is happening right now on the platform, lots of creativity. And I just want to give you one example on how the simple duet can be used for journalism. Exactly, that's the question by Emmanuel. How can we use this functionality as journals? So I've seen two cases. One thing is the duet interview, and that's pretty straightforward because you produce a video with some questions, and after each question, you pause. So people can duet it and answer your question. So it goes back and forth. I've seen that worked. And here's another example, not by journalists, but actually by a firefighter. And it was used for fighting conspiracy theories on TikTok. So what he did is he duetted a video consisting of a lot of conspiracy theories, and then he just broke them down because he knew more about that because he was around. So let's check that out.
Now, there are a lot of fires going on right now in our country. Was it planned? Here's something
No.
so crazy that it might be true. So if you haven't
Probably
been
not.
watching the news, the only thing besides Corona and the election is fires that they're talking about. But is it
Yeah.
not weird to you guys to know that the fires know when to stop at the border?
Because it's
I
a
mean,
US
look,
database
yeah,
map
literally
you're looking at.
zero.
Not going to be reporting Canada fires.
Look at all the stuff we have. Not to mention
Look
that
up Canada,
there's
though.
zero stories about how any of these other fires started, except for this one that
Campfires,
everyone knows about.
lightning
Just like
strikes.
anything nowadays, this is
Not very newsworthy.
though. However, I have something to show you that hasn't been debunked or even talked
Probably
about.
is.
And the reason why is because I don't think a lot of people have this. Now, what you're looking at are all half-burned trees about 40 miles from Grand Canyon National Park. I screenshotted
Oh,
the video
I used to
so you
work
can
there.
see the half-burned trees. But wait, it gets weirder. But if this was just a regular fire, why were there biohazard
That's literally
signs
not
all
there.
over the place,
I've
including on some
worked
of the
there.
logs that were
It
down?
even
And
looks
let's be real,
edited.
this will
Come on,
probably
guys.
get taken down very soon. Now, there are a lot of fires going.
Okay, so that does not include singing. I strongly agree. But he debunked the myth. And this could be something where I see future job applications coming in for debunking myth on TikTok, because if more and more people stick to the platform, the need for debunking myths or disinformation are definitely rising. So that's probably two ways on how journalists can push using the duet functionality. One is debunking myth, and the other one is trying to do interviews. Because if you produce a video with questions and users can choose to answer them, you can very easily get outreach and have many, many people answer your questions. Yeah, absolutely. Kai just wrote debunking stories and propaganda is good for politic comms too. Absolutely. And there are more and more politicians actually flocking to the platform. If you are interested in that, I can definitely show, give me a second. I can share a huge list. It's called Digital Diplomacy on TikTok. And it includes roughly 400 accounts of NGOs and other political organizations, embassies, world leaders that are currently active on TikTok. I will just paste it to the chat if you're interested in that. That's this list. And while we're talking about that, if you want to learn more what journalists are doing on the platform, let me share another list. It's called Publishers and Journalists on TikTok. And it has a couple of examples, like nearly 200 journalists from all over the place that are using TikTok too. And that might be interesting if you would love to learn more about that. And especially in Kenya and the countries around you where TikTok is still like up and coming, I think this will be a really interesting field to watch in coming weeks and months. Yeah, have I shared these links? Okay. Kai, it should be in the chat. I shared 2 spreadsheets. One is the digital diplomacy and the other one is the publishers and journalists. Please check them out. And if you have further questions, please don't hesitate to get in contact. Because as I said, right now I'm pretty intrigued about TikTok. I write this weekly TikTok newsletter. It's free. And of course, there's more information on that. Okay, TikTok. It's already 12:25 and we're coming to an end for today's session, but please don't worry, there's a session tomorrow too. I've got one little exercise for you. And if you want, you can do a homework as well. Oh, wait, today, I just need to prepare it. Okay, so what we'll be doing is 2 thingies. Let me just share the doc. Oh yeah, sure, you can always send DMs, absolutely. So what I would love to do with you now is if you, for the last time today, come around and meet me in the Google Doc. I have one little exercise today, and this is all about your takeaway today, because I would love to know if you have any takeaways, and I would love to learn more about the most crucial one takeaway today. So it would be fantastic if you could just add one word to the little table underneath. That would be cool. And if you like, you can even do a little homework that's underneath. It's called I Want to Tell the Story Of. And of course, you can use more words, but you can try to pitch a story to all of us so that we can elaborate on that tomorrow. With that in mind, let me just promote the workshop tomorrow. We will be talking about pitching. We will be talking about prototyping. And because I've seen that in your list, we will definitely tackle augmented and virtual reality and games. Okay? And someone already wrote the word realness into the list of takeaways today. And it would be fantastic if you could join your colleagues by adding a word about today. Oh, we have the sled there, very good. We have BME, beginning, middle, end, and the should look at that. Glad that someone wrote realness, because I'm pretty fond of this concept. Pretty sure that's really important for storytellers these days. You only have 15 seconds. Thanks for that. Sometimes even less. I would say you need to hook in people within the first 2 seconds of a video shared on social media so that they at least give you a chance to spread the added value. Thanks so much for your one-word takeaway. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being active in the chat. I really like the discussion there. And of course, thanks for staying with us for so long. We will definitely meet again tomorrow morning, if you like, same time, same place, to dig into concepts like pitching, prototyping. And if you want, you can learn more on AR, VR, and games. And of course, I'm happy to answer further questions if I can. Okay, someone has already started writing a little pitch underneath. That's fantastic. You can, of course, continue doing that later. For the last time today, I'm sharing the link to the doc. And thanks to the kind feedback in the chat. And with that, I would love to say thanks to all of you and hopefully see you back tomorrow morning. Enjoy your lunch. And Caleb, thanks a lot for the support. And I meet you all back tomorrow, okay? Take care and enjoy the rest of the day. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you, Marcus. I think I'll just let it run for a few minutes until guys can leave. But yeah, we'll be here tomorrow, same link. Looking forward to having everyone join us.
Perfect.
Habari, kwa majina naitwa Tulinago Mwampanga, ni Community Manager wa Media Innovation Center iliyoko chini ya Aga Khan University. Na leo nina habari njema sana kwako wewe mbunifu katika sekta ya habari. Nadhani umeshasikia juu ya programu yetu ya Innovators in Residence. Sasa leo nataka kukupa mbinu kabambe za kukuwezesha wewe kuandaa pendekezo au ombi ambalo litakupelekea katika kinyang'anyiro cha kuwa mshindi. Ni rahisi sana. Angalia, jambo la kwanza la kuhakikisha ni kwamba unasoma na kuelewa maelezo ambayo yametolewa katika kila kipengele. Na hii itakurahisishia wewe kutoa majibu sahihi kutokana na kile ambacho kimeulizwa. Na jambo la pili, usisahau kuambatanisha vitu muhimu. Hii inaweza kuwa ni takwimu, uchunguzi ni muhimu katika kila jambo unalolielezea, lakini jambo hili litakurahisishia wewe kuweza kutoa uthibitisho wa kile unachokisema. Na jambo la tatu, fafanua na rahisisha andiko lako. Usiweke maneno magumu wala usitumie lugha ya mficho. Hakikisha andiko lako kwa yeyote yule alipo popote pale anaweza akasoma na kuelewa kwa urahisi zaidi. Lakini ukishafanya yote hayo, jambo la msingi ni kuhakikisha unatuma ombi lako kwa wakati sahihi. Usipitilize deadline, na ukiweza tuma mapema. Kwani sasa hivi ni rahisi, unaweza ukatuma kwa njia mbalimbali. Kwanza kuna WhatsApp tumekurahisishia, lakini pia unaweza ukatuma kwa kupitia ofisi zetu zilizopo popote pale. Kwanza kama upo Tanzania unaweza kutuma kwa kupitia washirika wetu waliopo Mwanza ambao ni Innovate Hub, unaweza kutuma katika ofisi zao, lakini pia unaweza kutuma kwa kupitia hao washirika wana ofisi pia Dar es Salaam. Ila pia unaweza kuleta katika ofisi za Aga Khan University zilizopo Dar es Salaam Upanga, lakini pia unaweza kutuma kwa washirika wetu ambao ni Tanzania Media Foundation ambao wapo Dar es Salaam, ofisi zao ziko Kinondoni. Lakini unaweza kutuma ukiwa pia Kenya kupitia washirika wetu, lakini pia Uganda. Lakini jambo la msingi, usiache kuangalia maelezo mbalimbali, lakini pia namna mbalimbali ya kuweza kutuma kupitia. Kila laheri, wewe ni mshindi.
My name is Caleb Sonpachuku Okereke, and I'm the managing editor and co-founder of Minority Africa. We are an online publication using data-driven multimedia journalism to tell minority stories from across Africa. Currently, I'm at the MCR Media Hub in Uganda, which is where we are. I'm a 2020/2021 Aga Khan University Innovator in Residence. This means that I and my incredible team are being incubated by AKU for our media startup Minority Africa. It's been incredible. Firstly, AKU gave us money, which is super important, but they also helped us set up systems and processes that we didn't have before. We've had equipment support, we've had goal setting challenges, we've had mentorship, we've had HCD training, which is very important, but just thinking in depthly about our business model and what our value proposition is to the rest of the world. So please, if you want to apply this year, definitely do apply. I 100% recommend. And maybe next year you get to be where I am. Yeah. Hi guys, my name is Caleb. I'm the Communications Officer at the Media Innovation Center. And I'm super excited to let you know that we've done our call for application innovators in now, 2019, we've done 2 calls. First one, we onboarded 2 teams, and the second call, we onboarded 3 teams. But this year we're doing it a little bit different. How so? Daktari, tell them why.
Thank you, Caleb. Hi, my name is Jackie Chege, Director of the Media Innovation Center at the Aga Khan University. Like Caleb rightly mentioned, this year we're not taking 2 or 3, but 9 teams of media innovators. Yes, 9 teams. Exciting, right? Out of those 9 teams, 7 slots have been reserved for innovators working in rural communities. That is in the spirit of inclusivity and diversity, meaning that this time tunaenda mashinani.
9 teams, that gets me so excited. The support that we give all our startups is huge, beginning with a fully furnished office. Secondly, we give world-class trainings, mentorships, and coaching to all our teams. Thirdly, but definitely the icing on the cake, is $20,000 for each of our 9 teams. I really can't wait to see your ideas.
There you have it. I told you we're doing things differently. 9 teams, $20,000 grant each. Very exciting stuff. So visit www.mediainnovationnetwork.org to submit your application. Remember, you have until the 31st of August before the deadline. Apply now.
Welcome to the Media Innovation Center here at Aga Khan University. My name is Hesbon Hansen Ochieng-Wawila, and today we are going to take you through the application process for our Innovators in Residence program. Karibuni. WhatsApp is our first offline application option, and it is very easy. Send a request form to our office number +254 780 993 137, and our communication officer will respond by sending you a Google form that you'll use for the application. Once you receive the questions, read them carefully and answer them in a separate sheet. Once you're done, open your WhatsApp and begin typing question and answer. Then click send. Our communication officer will then fill in your answers to our Google Doc and submit. You see? Very easy. My colleague Claire will explain the other offline options.
Thank you, Hesbon. Hi guys, my name is Claire Mogere, and as explained, I'm going to show you other offline options of applying for the Innovators in Residence program. If you cannot access internet or WhatsApp, you can drop off your application at our drop-off centers in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Visit our social media channels for tips on application. And don't forget, the application deadline is 31st August. We look forward to receiving your applications.